Hey guys, so sat here today just chilling. It's gonna be another Neighbour from Hell video, I'm afraid. Just to give an update on what's happening. It's been quiet the past few days, apart from now. This afternoon. He's been drilling, banging and scratching and scraping. You might be able to hear it now, faintly in the background. But all afternoon he's sort of been doing that on the larder cupboard wall. No shouting, no swearing, no abuse shouted, no threat shouted, nothing like that, just random sounds of a drill, and it's like he's just put the drill up against the wall, not actually drilling holes in the wall, he's just put the drill up against the wall so that when he switches it on it vibrates against the wall and makes a noise. He's not actually drilling holes in the wall. Because he keeps switching the drill on and off repetitively. Switches it on for a few seconds and switches it off for a few seconds, switches it on for a few seconds, switches it off again. You know, just off, on, off, on, off, on. And I'm like, that's not how you use a drill, mate. And then, I don't know, he's using a hammer to bang on the wall maybe, or a wooden spoon, I don't know. But he's scraping the wall as well. I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, he's been at it all afternoon in the larder cupboard. I've had the music on this afternoon as well, and it started not long after I put my music on, but I've not had my music very loud at all, it's quite low. The only way he'd be able to hear it is if he put his ear to the wall and strained to listen, or if he came to our front door and opened our letterbox and listened through, maybe. That's the only way he'd be able to hear it. It's not at a level where our neighbours can hear it, you know. I've just had it on quietly in the background while I've been relaxing today with duvet on the sofa. But yeah, anyway, I think the reason why he's not actually shouting abuse or threats is because he was arrested again the other day. It looks like things might be starting to move in the right direction with that. I had police officers in and out of my flat, like most of the day the other day. I can't remember what day it was, but they were in and out taking statements from me, from John. I had to give like 2 or 3 statements in the end. And I had to give like these victim, I don't know what they call them, victim support statements or something, is where I talk about how his behaviour has affected me and my day-to-day life, because they were going to be taking it to the courts, and putting it forward to the courts to see if they could get him prosecuted, to see if they could get, I believe they were talking about an ASBO, but they have to get sufficient proof of what's been going on, and the police officers said it's you know, it's all now down to the courts. The courts might throw it out and just say, no, this ain't worth our time. You know, the council should just evict this man. It's the council's job. You know, the housing department, they should evict him. So the courts could just say that and throw it out. So basically, the police officers that were here the other day, they were really good. They were trying to do everything they could to so that it didn't get chucked out of court. That's why they were taking victim impact statements and taking statements from me. They hauled him in. They hauled the neighbour in to the neck and were interviewing him. They put forward to him the video evidence that I got of him breaking his conditions from last time he was arrested. They've got accounts from John and me about things he was shouting and screaming. So basically the other day they were building a case of harassment, hate crime, threats to kill, and they were going to go all three of those and try and get an ASBO put on him, which is antisocial behaviour order or something, I believe. So if they get that slapped on him, every time he does something like shout through the wall, we won't need video evidence. All we'll need to do is just ring the police and say, yeah, he's at it again, and they'll be straight out and they will arrest him. And each time he is arrested, he will be put up in front of the judge. And they said the judge might throw it out, but the more he is in front of the judge, the more the judges are going to be likely to go, hang on a minute, you've been here several times before for this. You've not learnt your lesson, so yeah, we are going to prosecute you this time. So it's a long drawn out process, but eventually the more he does his thing, the more likely it is that he's going to get in a lot of trouble, you know, as long as I just keep reporting it every time it happens. You know, so basically I think for the moment he's not going to be shouting threats or abuse or any form of hate crime or anything like that. He's just now going to be doing DIY noises to attempt to annoy us. And yeah, it's slightly annoying, but it's better than being shouted at day in, day out. It's better than being called names day in, day out. It's better than having my life threatened every day, day in, day out. You know, so I can just put my headphones on and drown out the drilling and banging. But to be honest, I want to stay alert, because as soon as he starts shouting abuse, I've got to report it. So I want to make sure I can hear him, because if he wants to dig himself a hole, I'm not going to stop him, you know. I'll just let him dig and watch while he just digs the hole deeper and deeper for himself until eventually he can't get out. You know. So, but yeah, things are moving forward slowly. We found some interesting information out from the officers the other day about the eviction process Now, the council, the housing people, Southampton City Council housing officer was telling us it is down to the police to evict him. And the police were telling us, no, it's down to the council. It's down to the housing people. So we spoke to a police officer the other day and kind of asked a bit about that, and they said, no, it is not the police's job to evict them. That is the council's job. They have all the power there. The police do not have the power there. He goes, if I did have the power, I'd happily go next door now and evict him for you now. But I do not have that power. It is the council that has to go and get some sort of eviction order or something, I think from a judge or from someone to get that to go forward. But on occasion, they ask the police to accompany them, or they ask the police to do it for them, because they don't like getting in tussles with angry tenants. So the police are usually on hand to help out with that. But it is not our job, it is their job. So we're like, right, okay, so they should have evicted him by now. And the police officer said, yeah, probably. If he's broken the tenancy, then yes, they should have evicted him for that. And if he got arrested, because the council, the housing people said to us, if he gets arrested, we can evict him. He was arrested, they didn't evict him. The police officer that was here the other day said, yeah, by rights they should have done. And he said, I don't know why they haven't evicted him. There must be some reason for it on their end, but yeah, according to this police officer as well, the next door neighbour from hell, apparently has shown interest in moving, and he wants to move out of this tower block. So the police were going to go speak to the housing people and sort of say to them, look, okay, maybe he wants to move, maybe you should move him if you're not going to evict him, because it would be easier for them to move him than it would be to move me, because there is no suitable housing for me and my needs, for my disabilities. They have a very, 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 very extremely long list of disabled people waiting for accessible social housing. And there's not enough social housing to go around. They're not building enough social disabled housing, accessible housing. The only accessible housing available is for the elderly, in like the elderly folks' homes and the little elderly communities and stuff, which is no good because I'm not elderly, not yet. Anyway, I feel it some days, but yeah, I'm not elderly, so that doesn't help. Him next door though, he is not disabled, he doesn't have any accessible needs, you know, so they can move him to wherever, you know, and they don't have to worry about making sure there's wheelchair access and making sure that there's an accessible wet room shower, you know. They don't have to make sure there's lifts in the building, you know. They don't have to do any of that stuff, you know, for him. They can just move him to wherever they want to move him to, hopefully as far away from me as humanly possible. Move him to Alaska, dump him out in Alaska. Maybe the Sasquatch will get him. But yeah, so yeah. I mean, I did try and get the management move, emergency management move. Even though I ticked all the criteria for that, apparently I'm not eligible. Apparently I'm sufficiently housed, which technically I am. The building's just about accessible for my wheelchair. There's a lift, you know. Because I'm still partially ambulatory, meaning I can get up out of my wheelchair and walk short distances. You know, I don't really need, they don't think I need a ground floor flat. I have the wet room shower. So yeah, apparently my needs are catered for, which they are. I'll agree with that, they are my needs at the moment, for this point in time. For present day, my needs are catered for in this flat, just about. I mean, all I need to get rid of from this living situation is the nightmare neighbour and the black mould. And then it'll be perfect, you know. But yeah, future though, when my health declines to the point where I am fully reliant on my wheelchair, I'm no longer ambulatory, then I may need a bigger flat with wider doorways to make it easy, and ramps, yeah, to make it easier to get through the flat and in and out, and yeah, and a ground floor probably. But I don't think even then I'll get that, you know, because like I said, there is an extremely long list of disabled people waiting on accessible housing, and some of those people are worse off than me when it comes to disabilities, you know. So I don't want to jump the queue or anything. But yeah, for now we're sufficiently housed.
Can I just chime in just a little bit?
Yeah.
All I want to say is, like you said about, hello everyone, I feel like I'm lazy, I better sit up properly so I don't look like
You're
a
not
complete
lazy.
slob. Basically what it is like you just said, the house here is, okay, it's a little bit small for our need at the moment because of all the stuff we've got. But if we do, the only time I want to move from here is, you know, this flat, is if we get our own place of our own that we've purchased. We haven't got the money to do that, and if we do that,
No.
that'll screw up everything else, right?
Yeah.
Or, in an emergency situation, like it gets through a wall, or the touch wood, the building gets on fire, or whatever, you know, like that kind of situation. But otherwise, we're happy here. If your health declines rapidly, then we will be forced to move.
Yeah.
And if it declines that rapidly, you'll probably just be housed in the hospital.
No.
Let's say tomorrow you wake up and you can't walk no more. The hospital will want to figure out loads of crazy stuff, because that would be a rapid decline. Like, oh dear,
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's not
it's-
going to rapidly decline like that. It's going to
No,
be a slow.
but like, this is what I'm saying. These are the 3 times that we would want to move from here, right? Is if it declined too quickly, there was an emergency, or somehow we got our own place. Like somebody bought us a house, or somebody left us a house, or we win the lottery, which we don't even play. But it's like, this is our home. We've been here for 15 years. We moved in
Nearly
here.
16 years now, isn't it?
Yeah, 16 years. 16 years we've been together. 16 years.
No, we've been together like 17 years now.
We've been together for 16 years. It'll be 17 in November. We've lived here for 16 years in November. I've got a weird bit on my hair, so that's what I'm playing with.
But
Looks like I'm just poking myself
I
in the
think
head.
Squeak wants to chime in as well.
But this is our house. We've lived here 15 years. We moved off the streets into this apartment.
Yeah,
In the last 15 months, it's not felt like home.
yeah.
It just feels like a room we live in.
But I think Squeak wanted to chime in. What did you want to say, Squeak? Can I see you on the camera?
No, you can't.
No, where are you?
Down. There she is.
There.
Hello.
Hello. What did you want to say? Oh, no, you're jumping up. You don't want to move, do you? No, you want to stay here. Yeah, you want to stay here.
With Mummy.
Yeah.
Did you just wave at all your fans?
Yeah, wave at your fans.
Say it.
No, okay. Okay. Come sit here. Say hi. Come wave at your fans. Blow kisses. No? No. Okay. So, yeah, like John said, we moved into this flat 16 odd years ago. We were homeless before we got this flat, weren't we?
Yeah. On the streets.
We were, at first we were like bouncing around from friends, families,
Yeah. And then we lived on the
places,
streets.
like sofa surfing and
then-
stuff. And then we were on the streets
And then
for a bit.
Christine took us in.
Yeah.
But,
And then we got this flat.
yeah. So
And we've been here ever since. Yeah, so it's a bit annoying because we've been comfortable here all those years. Yeah, it's not the greatest of flats, but it's a roof over our head.
it's got smaller.
No, it's not got smaller, John. It's just we've got a lot more junk and we've got bigger.
So when we first moved in here, we just had an old sofa and a bag full of clothes.
A bag full of clothes and blankets. And someone gave us an old, I think it was my sister,
Yeah, gave us an
gave
old
us
sofa.
an old sofa.
And that's all we had.
That's all we
that
had
was it.
when we rocked up here.
And over the years we've accumulated and bought.
But
Everything
No,
in this flat now
we
we've
did
actually
have
bought.
a
We've not been
we-
through the bin to get
we
it.
did have loads of stuff stored at your mum's
My
and dad's.
Yeah.
A few bits.
But
But yeah.
but like now, because when we first moved in here, we got loads of bits that we had at my mum and dad's that I had in the hostel and that you had from the
Yeah.
island, right? But now everything in this flat we have purchased.
Purchased.
There is not
Yeah.
an item in this flat that we scrounge from.
Yeah.
Because I did have, up until we bought that black cabinet down there, a set of drawers that one of our neighbours was throwing out, and I said, well, I need somewhere to put my paperwork. I'll just
Yeah.
nab it for now, till
Yeah.
we've got the money to do it.
Um,
But
but-
before, pretty much everything in this flat was
Our
something we
first,
scrounged.
our first week or so in this flat, all we had was that bag of clothes and blankets and that old sofa.
Yeah, we used the sofa cushions as pillows and laid on the floor.
Yeah.
Can't
And
lay on the
then
floor no more.
friends, some other friends got hold of like a bed and some other furniture and stuff for us, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then I can't remember who, but some other people got hold of like they were getting rid of some old plates and cups and cutlery and stuff. And they were like, oh, we were going to throw it out, but you can have it if you want, you need it.
Yeah.
So we were like, yeah, sure. Like,
Still got some of those plates and cups, I believe.
yeah,
that they gave
crazy.
us. But we have literally built
Yeah,
a life
and-
here. That's the point we're
Exactly.
making.
And with Squeak, she was born here in the bedroom.
That's all she's ever known, bless her.
And she is an indoor cat. She's never been outside the front door, apart from once or twice when she's had to go on a vet trip
And a cat carrier.
in her cat carrier, and she did not like it one bit.
No, did you? No one likes going there.
She got extremely anxious when she had to leave the flat.
She knows there is an outside because she watches out the window
Yeah,
occasionally.
but yeah, so like,
That's another thing as well.
so that's where it's really conflicting because we don't want to move because we originally were really comfortable here and happy
Yeah,
here
we don't
and like,
have to move.
yeah, I know.
The only reason we
But
want
then-
out is because of.
And I wanted out before he started. I was thinking about getting a move before he started because of the black
Yeah.
mold because they weren't doing much to
They-
fix that
They were
and it was
trying,
making
but there
me
was
ill.
so much miscommunication
So
there.
yeah, so I was thinking about moving out of here because I couldn't stand being ill. I keep getting sinusitis, trouble with like John's been getting chest infections, like bronchitis and everything like that, which
I
can
get
be
that every
caused.
year, though.
Yeah, that can be flared up or caused by black mold, breathing in black mold spores.
I mean, it's not as
Same
bad
as
as
the
it was.
sinusitis and everything. But yeah, so I was thinking about maybe moving from here because of the black mold. If the housing people didn't fix it.
But it wasn't urgent, you know.
Black mold is urgent.
No, no,
It
no,
can
I
kill
meant-
you.
No, I meant like, I've seen places where there's black mold running up the walls, across the ceiling, and their bed is right under it.
Have you looked at the kitchen around the sink?
Yeah,
You know
it's
the
all
ceiling?
around. It's all around there, but they can
Yeah.
rip that ceiling out and put new ceiling
No,
in.
they can't. They'd have. I was told by one of the council workers they'd have to rip out all them tiles because behind them tiles it's hollow. The black mold's gone all the way up the wall, all the way up them walls
Why haven't they
behind
done that
them tiles, because it'll cost the council too much. And if they're going to rip all that out, they'd have to rip everything out in the kitchen and redo the whole kitchen, and they don't want to pay for that.
Well,
They'd much rather their tenants slowly die of black mold inhalation.
and then move in some other poor sucker
Yeah.
that will die from it as well.
That's Southampton Council for you.
It's eugenics.
The kitchen I have is over 20 years, 15, 20 years old,
It
and
was
they're
fitted when we moved in.
supposed to, I believe, change the kitchens every 10 years.
Yeah, but
If
they
I
haven't had
remember
the
rightly.
They barely have the funding to pay their own people. Mind your
Yeah.
butt, Squeak.
I mean, Cole's
Okay.
Cole's got one of the new kitchens.
Yeah, that's because he moved in more recently, and they refit the kitchens when a new tenant moves in.
Yeah, when we moved in, that kitchen was already out of date. They should have updated it
They already-
before we moved in.
They refitted it.
No, they didn't. All they did was tighten up the cupboards.
I thought no, they changed a couple of doors on it. Is what they did.
Yeah, to the old ones.
Ah, okay.
They
Well-
should have refitted the whole kitchen, but they didn't.
Oh well.
It's a really outdated kitchen.
Well, then what we should do is put in for planning permission to have somebody come and do it.
Do you know how long it takes to get planning permission and planning permits to build kitchens and stuff off of the council?
We just say to them, our kitchen's outdated, could you come and change it? If they say no, we go, but it needs doing. And they go, well, we need to do these tests. We'll get them done then. Book a whole week, everyone just come in and sort it.
To be
Move it
honest,
quickly.
these days I don't have much faith in the council,
I don't have faith
in the housing
council
people.
at all.
I don't. Southampton City Council Housing Department just,
They've let us down.
yeah, they're not very good at their job.
Well, on paper they look like they're doing a great job because of the fact that
Do
They
the
do
bare
the-
minimum
they
and
do the bare minimum to
hope
tick the
for the
boxes.
best.
But, I mean, in our situation, I don't think they've done a good job with our situation. But I do
No.
understand that what we are going through with a guy who's doing what he's doing sure beats what some other people are going through.
Yeah.
There are some people that the council have to deal with that are forcibly living in a place that they shouldn't be. They've got kids, young uns that are
I
sick,
know, like,
right? And they can't afford to pay the rent, and the council are trying to get them evicted. And
Canberra Towers,
it's
apparently,
buildings of holes literally in the walls.
yeah, yeah.
So they've got all of that. Like, if I gave you a list of 1,000 things that can happen to a house, right? Where would you put our situation? Our situation comes below
But
fixing a plug socket.
Canberra Towers, what's going on there is terrible, really. There are families with really young children, like toddlers and 5, 6 years old, or whatever, living in Canberra Towers. Black mould, worse than the black mould in my place, is literally all up the walls and ceilings, and the kids are breathing it in.
That's why I mean we're not urgent.
And they're getting sick. And there are massive holes in the wall that go to the outside. Now, if you think this tower block, how many stories is it? It's 26 stories, I believe. 26 stories high, Canberra is, I believe. Yeah, so there's big holes in the wall that go to the outside, big enough for a toddler to climb through. And some of these tenants were like, well, can we get these holes fixed? And the housing were like, we can't fix them. We don't have it in the budget. So the tenants were like, okay, can we fix them ourselves? And the council have said legally, no, you're not allowed to. If you do, we can evict you. So they've got little toddlers running around with gaping holes in the main support outside walls of their flat. Like, literally, see this wall behind me with the window? It would be a gaping hole in that wall.
That's why
and
they put sofas and
in
stuff
in the
of it.
winter and the cold, wet,
Freezes.
rainy weather and windy weather, damp is getting in, cold is getting in, and that, of course, is making the black mould worse. So yeah, the state of Canberra Towers much worse than the 5 other towers
5.
in Western Shore. Yeah, but they're all in pretty bad condition. I mean, to look at them these days, you won't think so, because they've been nicely painted on the outside. On the inside, though, it's falling apart. The boilers don't work properly.
They just serviced them.
Yeah, but they don't work properly. We don't get hot water properly. Some days our radiators won't even work. Yeah, the plumbing's really old, and we get some disgusting water out of them that tastes foul. It tastes like something's died in it. And when we drink it, we get very, very bad stomachs. So we use lots of like Brita filters and stuff to filter it all, to make it at least a little bit more manageable for us to drink. We boil it a lot as well. It's disgusting water. It tastes foul. I don't know if all 5 blocks have that issue with the water, but I know this one does. Sometimes the water either comes out like a really white, milky, chalky colour, or it'll come out some days like a rusty red colour. Which, yeah, I avoid using the water in this flat when it's like a funny colour. I mean, I could just get bottled water, but that can get quite expensive. You know. And I'm paying water bill, so surely I should be getting clean, drinkable water, you know, but no.
Oh, I see.
The concierge system is okay, the phone, but the problem is the camera on it is really naff. So you can't actually see who is at your door. And the phone on it is a bit naff. So you can't always hear who is at your door. So I'm like, that's great security, that is. Some days it works better, other days it doesn't. Some days it doesn't even work at all, and people have come to see me, buzzed up to my flat, and the intercom phone's not even rang, and they've had to ring me on their mobile from outside and be like, "Oh, Mia, your phone ain't working, your intercom ain't working, let me in." So we've had to go down to the front door, at the front of the building, and let them in.
That's upstairs.
Yeah, that's upstairs banging. What's the bet that's going to trigger him next door?
That's not fair. You win that bet.
But yeah, upstairs been really, really noisy lately. Been doing a lot of banging.
Slightly annoying, but
they've had what sounds like kids in there running around constantly. Not little kids though. They sound like older kids, like teenagers or something, running around, jumping about. Some days it sounds like teenagers are having a house party up there. And they've had their washing machine or tumble dryer or whatever go in today. They had it go in, when was it, the other night?
yeah.
And our next door neighbour apparently was roaming the hallways trying to find out where the noise was coming from.
Also, we believe.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's what's happening at the moment. It's getting dark in here now. Bubble tea.
Oh dear.
I got sushi for lunch earlier
Oh dear.
from Ko Sushi. They do bubble tea as well, so I've got really into bubble tea lately. I didn't think I'd like it, but I do really like it, especially from Ko. They do it really, really nice. Leave it alone, Squeak. That's mine.
I nearly fell off on that then.
But yeah, I didn't think I'd like the bubble tea because of my struggles with food aversions and stuff. Because it's got the tapioca pearls in it and stuff. I didn't think I'd like that because of the texture and stuff. But it's actually quite nice. But yeah. What else have we been doing? Nothing much, really. Just been sat around waiting to hear back from the police. Last night we went out for the evening. Well, we went out for the afternoon, and then for the evening we went into town to do a bit of shopping. Went and had a meal and a cheeky cocktail at Bangers and Burgers. And then we went to the Rockstone pub for an open mic. And that was fun.
I want to plug the open mic.
You want to plug the open mic?
Hosted by Fragile Lucy. Held every second Thursday, so every 2 weeks, at the Rockstone in Southampton. It's a quiet little pub until the open micers turn up, then it gets quite loud. It's not exactly disabled friendly, but I'm sure
I'd
if you
say
are,
it is. Yeah, obviously they have a step, but I'm sure
Yeah, but
they could easily
they
get
don't have a
around.
disabled access toilet there either. But they like all sorts
True.
of people. The only reason they don't is because it's a listed building. They can't change it.
Yeah.
And they want to change it, but they can't. But it is a nice little place. So if you're in and around the Southampton area on a Thursday, and you're like, I fancy some free entertainment, Rockstone, come in there.
Yeah,
You don't have to
it's
perform.
really cool.
And another thing as well is, if you're staying there for a long period of time, like you're having a meal and drinks, their food top notch, by the way.
And
They
they have
can
a
open it-
Pokemon gym.
Yeah, there's a Pokemon gym just down the road
So
from
we
them.
found out yesterday.
Yeah, but you can go there. When you go up to the bar, you just say to them, "Can I open a tab?" And
Yeah, they
that
do
saves you
have
getting your
them.
wallet out every 5 minutes, and they'll just do the drinks and the food, and then you settle up before you leave. All the bar staff there are friendly. They'll
Yeah.
get to know you by name, and they'll get to know the drinks you like. So they're
But,
very good.
Yeah, anyway, so
But Lucy's open mic.
my 280 something subscribers,
All gonna show up next week. Yeah,
if you're ever in and around Southampton,
England.
you want something to do, there you go, there's one idea. But yeah, so it was nice getting out yesterday. I haven't been out in a couple of weeks now, I think. Can't remember when I last went out apart from last night. Apart from yesterday. Can't remember because I was meant to go out a couple of weeks ago, I think, but I was ill. Every time I've been meant to go out somewhere and do something, I've been ill. So I've had to cancel. So, yes. And the weather as well, that's not helping. The cold weather, it's been getting really, really cold again lately.
Okay.
And when it's cold weather, the fatigue gets really, really bad. It's like my body goes, it's too cold, let's hibernate. So yeah. I was fighting hibernation yesterday when we were out. Nearly asleep. But yeah. Live music kept me awake. I think we've got another open mic coming up in the next few days, and then next week I believe my brother and his missus are in Southampton, so probably be having them over. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But yeah, still just hopefully it's going to be a quiet couple of weeks, because usually when he gets arrested or gets a talking to from the police, he goes quiet for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, and then yeah, so we might be, so I think we're due for some peace and quiet from him for a couple of weeks at least. Did I speak too soon?
That's upstairs.
Oh, that was upstairs, wasn't it? Okay, we get peace and quiet from him. Noise from above. I need a holiday away from life. Just. Don't we, Squeak? We need a holiday. Do you want to go on holiday? Do you? Yeah, should we go on holiday? Where should we go? Where do you want to go? Should we go to the beach? Yeah, let's go. Let's go to the beach. We're going to the beach. Squeak wants to go to the beach. Yeah, so I think I'm going to shut up now and go. Leave you all alone. But I shall see you later. Bye bye.